Good day, everyone. Today's Literature Talks is about Once Upon a Time by Nadine Gordimer. Once Upon a Time by Nadine Gordimer tells the story of a family living in a divided and racially tense society. The family, concerned about the increasing threat of violence and crime, decides to take extreme measures to protect themselves. They build an elaborate security system around their home, including high walls, barbed wires, and alarms. Despite these efforts, they are still haunted by their fears, which are fueled by their increasing isolation from the outside world. The story takes a tragic turn when their young son, curious about the boundaries of the fortified home, becomes trapped in the very security measures meant to protect them, symbolizing the dangers of fear, paranoia, and separation. The story ends with a grim reflection on how fear and overprotection can lead to unintended consequences. Nadine Gordimer's Once Upon a Time is one of the most powerful stories about apartheid or racial separation in South Africa that tries to express and convey the pervasive fear and obsession with security among the white Burgese. From the Marxist perspective, it describes the division of classes between the wealthy and privileged white family and the poorer black majority living in the background as a constant unseen threat. The family's reliance on material security systems like alarms, walls, and eventually deadly coil of barbed wires symbolizes the extremes the upper class will go to protect their wealth and status from supposed dangers posed by the working class. The story is a subtle critique to the capitalist system, showing how wealth generates fear, isolation, and violence. Strong imagery is definitely used to depict the family's home and the walls they construct, which represents literal and figurative barriers. Gordimer also used symbolism and irony to critique the false sense of security provided by wealth and highlight the moral or social decay that arises when a society is built on exploitation and fear. The fairy tale structure and title juxtaposed with the grim reality of apartheid. It is the story that calls for a re-evaluation of the social order and a reckoning with the inherent violence of apartheid. Reading the short story Once Upon a Time by Nadine Gordimer has deepened my understanding of the destructive power of fear and division in our society. The story made me reflect on how, in many ways, people today still build metaphorical walls around themselves just to protect their wealth and privilege from those they consider outsiders. I learned that fear, if let loose or unchecked, can lead us to drastic measures that we often tend to hurt those people we try to protect. The little boy's death had struck a chord in me so vividly as a powerful symbol of how the attempts to safeguard one's comfort lead to harm the others and possibly oneself. I can relate to the theme of fear and the demand for security found in the story because in our world today, inequality still prevails and individuals respond to such a condition by isolating or withdrawing from the rest instead of addressing the root causes of various social problems. Personally, I've seen how social divisions could create social barriers, not just between classes but also between families, people, and communities. And as I read the story, I started to realize myself how unconsciously I form part of these divisions by craving my own comfort that leaves me from confronting the real issues. Hence, I will move and try to move forward to put these realizations or lessons to good use by being more mindful of how I respond to societal issues. I will now choose to fight for the marginalized and work toward breaking down the barriers, because true peace and security come from creating a just and equitable society, not barriers. And that's it for today's Literature Talks. Thank you for listening.